Welcome to another edition of Walton Entertainment. Today we'll have more news, information, and entertainment from your local hometown.
The azaleas are just beautiful out here in front of the courthouse. If you're walking to exercise, just walk here by the courthouse and look at the beautiful flowers in the azaleas.
Hello, Walton County. This is Kevin Little on your Chairman's Report on Walton Entertainment. It's the middle of March, and we're right in the beginning, early stages of the COVID-19. Kind of swept across us all pretty quickly over the last 5 to 6 days, and we don't know at this point how long we're going to be under this effect. The main thing, what we've been doing, we've been having meetings with the constitutional officers and with the department heads, is we're just trying to remain calm and trying to self-protect. That's what we're trying to do. And then when you get home, self-quarantine at home. Make sure you wash your hands and clean as much as you can, and don't be touching your face and your eyes if you've not washed your hands. We at the county have decided that we will continue to be open. We feel like that we need to serve the public, and we are a service-based government, and so we need to be able to provide you with the essential functions that you need to operate your daily lives. And so I've actually been on 2 briefings this week, one with Governor Kemp and one with Senator Loeffler, and they are both saying the same situation, is to, because we don't know the extent at this time of how long it will be or what's going on, but we are trying to stay out of large crowds and large spaces, because that definitely is how it spreads if someone has it. And so the COVID-19 is kind of new, and they're kind of still learning as going on. There's no immediate treatment, but it is very survivable unless you have underlying health issues. So that's a big concern. If you do have emphysema or COPD or some type of treatment for respiratory, then you need to stay self-quarantined. That's very good on that. The governor and his conference with us, they do have a hotline. It's 1-844-442-2681. 844-42-2681. That will, questions that you have, like if your daughter has been over to somebody's house and then they find out that their aunt had coronavirus, what are the problems there? That would be considered low risk. There's a lot of things that are low risk, and that's some of the things that, as we learn more, it's still a little bit of a panic attack right now. When people hear that someone's got it, they think you're immediately going to get it, but that is not true. There've been a lot of people that are working with folks that have come in contact and have not received the coronavirus. But then on the other side, there is some that do have it. So the main thing is to continue to wash your hands, don't touch your face, and self-quarantine, and stay isolated at least 6 or 7 feet from the person that you're talking with or being around, and then you should be safe. And so what we're going to do is I'll update you again as much as I know as we can. It's still a moving in progress. The President of the United States is doing daily press conferences around lunch to update you on what's going on and what's happening there. The governor of Georgia is also doing the same thing in the afternoons and evenings. He's doing that. Plus, your local news and local media sources will give you some insight also. Some states are a whole lot worse than Georgia. We hope we can keep it calm here in Georgia. We've been lucky so far, and let's try to do that. But it will take all of us working together to try to do that. And if you have any questions or concerns, please give me a call, 770-267-1301. Thank you.
Hi, this is Jody Johnson. I'm here with the Recreation Report. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of recreation going on in our department right now. As you know, we've had to cancel all of our opening day festivities and really disappoint a lot of parents and kids that we just could not participate in our programs for safety reasons, and I completely understand that was probably a very wise decision to shut everything down and to get socially separated, like I know all Walton County citizens are trying to do to the best of their ability. I know there's some things that we still completely have to do or need to do, but I know we're trying to stay safe and because we really don't know what the extent of the coronavirus is going to do to us. With that being said, I do want to encourage folks that are sitting in their house. I know it can get really easy to watch TV all day and everything is changing by the minute, but it's almost similar to a soap opera. You can catch right back up. So try to get a little bit of exercise if you can. If it's stay separated from folks, but you can walk around either in the neighborhood, treadmills, whatever it takes, because I do know the more active you are and the better condition you are, the more likely you probably will not have effects of the coronavirus. Obviously, I'm not a scientist or a doctor, but I do think that it's important for us to all to get a couple hours of moving exercise and aerobic type exercise a day. So try to do that. Our parks are not locked. I don't encourage you to go out and touch every mailbox and fence post and everything like that. We are trying to get where we can sanitize our playgrounds, but again, we're just doing the best we can with that, spraying them down when we can. At all 14 of those around the county, we'll use some type of sanitizer that will using a pressure washer that will spray down. Again, it's not 100% guaranteed, but we're doing what we can to try to make those places safe. Again, the parks are not locked, so if you are one of those that have a kid that loves to throw the baseball or hit a ball, one-on-one, you are allowed to go out there. Again, not for organized events whatsoever. We're not allowing organized events, but once this is over, and I do think it will end at some point, obviously, we will get back to playing baseball. I hope it's this season. We haven't given up hope on that yet, and then we'll come up with some way of creatively trying to get that season in, whether it's playing double headers on weekends and single games during the week to try to speed up and get you as many games as we have promised. Obviously, if that doesn't happen, then we'll be instructed on what to do next, whether people are asking about refunds or credits or, I just don't know what that holds because I don't know when this will end. So just know that we will do the right thing. Our commissioners and our chairman are keeping up to date with this as we go along, so we'll do the right thing. No need to be alarmed about that. Their main concern is to keep people safe, and then we'll get back to our regular organized activity. With that being said, our employees are doing the same thing. They're trying to be safe. We're sanitizing all the community centers and doing things that we normally wouldn't have a chance to do. Waxing the floors, scrubbing down underneath equipment, wiping down walls, painting walls, doing a lot of those things that we haven't had a chance to do. So they are staying busy. Some of them are having to take sick leave, just like a lot of you are having to do, to take care of their children that are not in school. So we've got some of those going on as well. We've separated our employees into pods of 2 and putting them in their maintenance sheds, sanitizing the equipment, and they're the only ones that are allowed in those shops to continue to maintain the parks. So when we are able to start playing again, those parks will be in the condition that we want them in. To participate in. So, those are the things that we're doing to try to keep things as normal as possible in our department. We're also helping out with the EMA director and trying to assist him in any ways he have with some of the employees that we have that have those skills that he needs help in. He doesn't necessarily need them all the time, but in these times, we're lending helping hands in any department we can from our department. So just know that your government is working for you, and we're not just sitting around waiting on this thing to be over. So stay safe, stay healthy, try to exercise where you can, and I always end with, sportsmanship starts at home, but with these day and times, I just want everybody to be safe and exercise and try to be nice to your neighbors. Again, thanks a lot.
Monroe Country Day School's mission is to inspire every student to have a passion for academic and personal excellence through creative learning, independent thinking, and selfless service to others. Students are exposed to the local community and provided opportunities for independent thinking.
What will you do with all the dirt?
Some of the dirt you see has been hauled over here because they're going to have to build the finished floor, the elevation of the building, so that it's got to have the right kind of soil that will compact and tighten up for the footings of the building.
Monroe Country Day School values the whole child. Therefore, we believe in a holistic and integrated approach that involves the development of the student academically, personally, and socially. Monroe Country Day School believes that creative learning produces independent thinking and fosters a love of learning. Excellence is applied to all that we do. We strive to foster students that are pursuing strong academic and personal excellence. Project-based education is integrated into our curriculum.
When we go back in the classroom, we need the combined weight of you guys because we've got to figure our bridge, our mass bridge weight ratio, okay? You got to figure out how much weight it was that finally broke your bridge, okay?
We need a scale for that.
And then on Monday, we're going to redesign. We figured out where some of our flaws are. We're going to spend another week redesigning, all right?
Monroe Country Day School offers personalized education that begins with the personal knowledge of each student academically and each student's personal story. We believe that taking personal responsibilities for one's academic and personal choices produces strong, independent, capable, and confident citizens. Students are taught responsibility for self, peers, and community. Through service to one's peers and community, an equipped leader finds personal growth and fulfillment. We facilitate this leadership through providing experiences of service. Respect is the basis for good dialogue, independent thinking, and mutual enjoyment of life lived in community. Monroe Country Day School is designed for families who see the value of educating the whole child. Monroe Country Day School will reach its mission by maintaining small class sizes, offering project-based learning and a high-level curriculum, and by providing service opportunities in an aesthetically pleasing environment. Monroe Country Day School has positioned itself to produce a community of young people who are strong in mind and character and living as contributing members in their community. For more information, please contact Mandy Wellington, Admissions Director, at 770-267-8955.
Hi, welcome to Monroe Walton Center for the Arts and to the new reality of these unusual times that we're living in. And the first thing I want to say is that art is healing. There are studies that shows that just doing 45 minutes of art a day, any kind of art, you don't have to be an artist, just with a paintbrush or a pencil or adult coloring books, knitting, anything that activates that creative side of your brain. It lowers your cholesterol, your cortisol, which is your stress hormone. So I've seen it hundreds and hundreds of times over the past few years of working here, how people start doing art and they come in tense and maybe worried and upset about things, but within a few minutes of getting into the flow of doing something creative, it's just your body just kind of has a reset. So get an adult coloring book, get out those paints and canvases, get out copy paper and markers for you and your kids. Whatever supplies you have at your home, it doesn't have to be anything complicated. and do 45 minutes of art every day if you can, as much as you can. So that will help you. There are even studies that shows that it can boost your immune system. Like I said, it will lower your cortisol level and your stress. It'll help your mood. It gives you a fun family activity. One of the things that we're doing here, of course, we're closed for now. I have allergies. I don't have a fever. But we are closed for now. But we are putting, I'm here for office hours. I'm answering emails. I'm answering the phone if you have any questions. One of the things that we're doing in the sculpture garden is we're putting these, we're calling them art drops every day. Well, not every day, but we've done it. We started Tuesday and they were all taken, so I did it again Wednesday, yesterday, and they were all taken again. So every day, these are original sheets actually out of our Art MD Healing Art Kits. And these are original drawings by Donna Kaufman and Sandy Blanchard, two of our artists here. And so I'm just making copies. We'll probably write a little note on them. I'm putting them out in the little free library in the garden. And I'm putting 30 to 50 copies out every day. So come by, pick up just one or two, enough for you and a kid or two. You can make your own copies at home if you can, so that there's enough to spread around to other people. But so far, people are coming by. It's good to get out in the sunshine. It's good to take walks and get out in nature, hear the bird song. It's early spring, the daffodils are up. Do something, don't focus only on the bad things. Find something good to focus on. And so this is a little project that we're doing. Again, I'll put it on Facebook and Instagram when I have a new art drop put out, and I'm putting a different sheet every day. Like I said, maybe not every day, as much as I can. But it'll be on Facebook, and our Facebook is Monroe Walton Arts. Our Instagram is also Monroe Walton Arts, so you'll see it on there. The other thing that we're doing on our Facebook page is our education director, Donna Kaufman, and her friend, Donna Gunthorpe, are the two art Donnas, we call them. So the two Donnas are doing a video a couple of times a week. It's 5 less than 10 minutes of some simple art projects, again using supplies that you probably have around your home, water-based markers, copy paper, pencils, maybe a Sharpie, crayons. So they're giving you simple projects, ideas, prompts, if you will, of projects that you can do with your kids and yourself. Again, try to get an art practice going on in your home. It will help. It will really help. So our Facebook page, again, can be found at Monroe Walton Arts. We have 2 of the videos up from the Art Donnas. We did one Monday, and then we did one yesterday. So a couple times a week, look for those. They're goofy and they're funny and they laugh, and you'll enjoy just seeing them interact. They're fabulous artists, but very accessible and very smart ladies that will give you easy projects that you can do at home. And then they're sharing some of their own ideas. And also, when they issue a challenge, we're asking people to share what you do in the comments. So take a picture of the project, of the challenge that they give you, and take a picture and put it down in the comments underneath their video, and share your art or your kids' art with the world, and we'll just make this kind of a little sunnier area in our lives. The last thing that we're just beginning to work on here is I've just started putting some of our shop on online so that you can shop for and still support our local artists. So it took me about 30 minutes to get one thing up yesterday. Hopefully I'll figure it out and it won't take me so long. But bit by bit, I'm going to get as much as I can up on our shop. And again, on our Facebook page, on Instagram, and on our website, when I have a little more developed on there, I'll put the link for you to shop and or at least look and see. And right now we'll do curbside delivery, so you'll pick out what you want and pay for it online. You don't have to come in. I'll douse myself in essential oils and wash my hands and pack everything up and deliver it curbside. So look for that to happen, in the next, maybe by the end of, by the time you see this, hopefully this week. Look for that to happen. And the last thing I'd encourage you is to please continue to support as much as you can, as much as you're comfortable with, our downtown businesses. Monroe has been building such a great momentum. Several new shops and restaurants have just opened, and I can just imagine that the hearts are in the throats of those owners right now, worried about their future. Of course, we're all worried, but if you can do curbside delivery from some of the restaurants, buy gift cards, do whatever you can to still support the local businesses. So, an encouraging word, visit our sculpture garden, even if the pages are gone for that day. I'm keeping a watch on the box and trying to keep it full, but you'll enjoy the garden. There are flowers blooming. Watch our Facebook page. Once I get the shop up, you can kind of browse that. Just looking at art is relaxing. And the last thing, this really is the last thing, I'm putting up our show. We have our fabulous high school art show up right now. And of course you can't come in to see it, but I'm doing videos of each school, one school at a time, like a little 5-minute virtual museum tour of each school's offerings. So this is one of my favorite shows of the year. Hopefully, I'm hoping we'll be back open by April 1st, if not then, soon after. The reception for that show is April 16th. If we are not able to host a reception at that time, the show is still being judged by officials from the Savannah School of Art and Design. They are offering scholarships to the winners. So if we're not able to announce those at the reception, then I'll announce those through all the usual medias, our Facebook page, Instagram, our newsletter, and our Facebook and our website. So stay tuned, stay healthy, and our prayers and hopes and wishes for all of you to stay healthy through this time. Thank you.
You're watching Walton Entertainment.
And I said, look, it says that this album, the photograph was made in Macon, Georgia. I said, oh my God. I said, I'm going to take my album, which I bought over here in this case, and I'm going to go down there and find the kind of, I thought the wall might be there, this wall, and take my album and let somebody take my picture, my wife or whoever, me and her together, of me and my album, and that's all I wanted. But this story that I'm going to tell you, lo and behold, I did that. But on the bizarre trip that took about a week, I wound up with this. I'm going to proceed to tell you the story of how I bizarrely came across one of the cases on the Fillmore East album of the Allman Brothers. This album right here, I have my original album that I bought in 1971 when I was at Gainesville High School. It's in the case back here behind me. Why I was interested in the Allman Brothers Band and other bands is because back then, I mean, if you was a boy from Georgia, the first band with long hair that was cool came from Georgia. I mean, they were from Macon, Georgia. And, you know, and once the word spread and they really got out there by constantly going and playing, like at Piedmont Park, free concerts and just free in Macon. And, you know, they'd just set up and play everywhere for free. And then they'd go play gigs on the road constantly, going everywhere. And the word got out to us boys at school. And next thing you know, we had an album called the Allman Brothers Band, which is their first one. And then Idle Wild South come out, their second one. And then lo and behold, this album right here came out, and that's what started it all, because man, it went like crazy. Because they decided that their first two albums, you know, they wasn't really going that good across the country, just regionally. They said, we need to make a live album like what we sound like, you know, when you come see us live. We need to do that. And so they did, and it's noted as being one of the best live rock albums ever. They even put it in the Smithsonian to preserve it. Since probably I was old enough to drive, which is right at 1972 when the Eat a Peach album come out, and I had an 8-track tape player in my Chevelle, and I probably wore out 10 of them 8 tracks from Fillmore East and Allman Brothers and Eat a Peach, because all Georgia boys wanted to hear that. But what I've always done is I love Georgia, and I collect a lot of Georgia artifacts like pottery and just all kinds of stuff. And early Georgia furniture, and I've always went out way before, you know, you got the show The Pickers. Well, I was doing that back in the 70s. And that's what me and my wife, that's what we do all the time when we're not, when I'm not working, and which this is work too, is we go out and find the bazaar, and but I never would have dreamed I would find something that had never to do with this, because I used to sit and look and stare at this when it came out and was listening to it. That's what was fun about albums. You could put them on, kind of like eating cereal with a cereal box, and look and read the album and just wow. Now, you know, you don't really do that. Of course, me, I'm old school as you can get. No technology. Even though I'm being filmed, maybe this will be on a computer, I don't know. But I don't want a computer. I don't really like them. I love how you did things in the past. You get more things. There's nothing like doing things with your hands just out. And the things I'm looking for, you'd never find them on a computer, sitting at home. You got to get out and nearly get snake bit and get mosquito bit, and you get to talk to people. I wear overalls because I love them, but I get out in the country and I talk to country people. And then I might talk to a city slicker. I don't know. But I'm going to tell you the story of how I found this case, which is J-Mo's one of his conga cases. There's another one that was sitting over here at the side that's stenciled vertically. There's only 3 of these cases known to exist. Right here's the guitar that just sold for $1,250,000, and why is because Eric Clapton was doing the album Derek and the Dominoes. Well, he'd heard about Dwayne Allman, and they were playing a concert not far from Criteria Stereos in Miami. And he said, hey, Dwayne and them's down there. You want to go see him? Yeah. Said, and this was at night. So they went down there and they sat against right at the front. And Dwayne Allman, he didn't even see them. He just happened to look. Now, they were in a song, one of their jams that would last for an hour, one song. And they were up there, and he just stopped playing. And like Dickie Betts, that plays lead up there with him, thought, like, what the heck? And he looks down, he says, man, right there's Eric Clapton. And so Eric wound up, to try to make a long story short, he said, come to the studio, and I've got plans. I want you to help, I think, work on my album. So this guitar, y'all know y'all have heard the song Layla, I guess, by Eric Clapton, Derek and the Dominoes. All the intro and figuring out the intro and all that was Dwayne Allman's idea. And he did it on this guitar. All right, now let me try to tell you the story about this case, and however I got it, I really don't know. But it started out, you know, I found out that album cover was photographed in Macon, and all my life, and all of the other guys thought it was photographed out from the Fillmore East, maybe up there beside the building. Well, when I found this out, that it was in Macon, you know, not far from where I live, I wanted to go there, and I wanted to take the album and have my picture made. Wow, you know, because this has always been, you know, it and the other Allman Brothers, especially Eat a Peach, my favorite albums. I always take one of my vacation times around my birthday, and so I thought, well, that's when I'm going to take my album, which is the one I've got about 20 of these albums, and I'm going to take my album and photograph it, and that's going to take place when I take off about a week or two during my birthday. And so I made plans to do that. And so my second day off, which was, I got off on a Saturday, or Friday night. On Sunday, me and my wife went looking, just, you know, that's why I was in this place, is because we look for all kinds of Georgia artifacts and things. And it was getting late in the day. Now let me tell you this little part. At the end of my driveway, before I went out on the road, I told my wife, I said, I'm thinking of going to the mountains, but something is telling me to go back down south. So I took the right out of my driveway, and my wife said, well, we was in that area. What do you think? Last weekend, I said, well, something's just telling me to go back down to these certain areas. And it was kind of late in the day. We didn't even leave till like 1 o'clock, you know, in the day. And the area I was going to take me about an hour's drive or so. So we get down there, and we go in a bunch of places and around, and it's getting like on up at the end of the day when these places might be closing, and we go in this big place, and normally I go down this aisle right at the front, and me and my wife, we always split up, because that way 4 eyes is better than 2, and she's concentrating over here and I'm over here. And if we need to meet up about something, we do. Well, this rare first time ever, I told my wife, I said, I'm going to start way in the back of this big building and work my way up to the front. And that way I'll be at the front when they close. So I headed back, and as I was going, I was looking down the aisles. And next to the last aisle, I looked down there and I thought, man, there is Alan Kelly. And he owns, of all things, or I never would even be mentioning this, he owns a music store in Commerce, Georgia. And it's called, it used to be called Crazy Al's, now it's Guitar Outlet. And so we've been friends a long time. And so I head down there and I thought, man, I'm going to tell him what I'm going to do next weekend. I'm going to Macon and I'm taking my album and I'm going to have my picture made with my album. That's all I wanted. And so I get down there and we're, talking, and I didn't pay attention to the little section where I was at, and he didn't. It was really kind of up from this little thing I'm going to tell you about. But I'm telling him, wow, man, I'm going to Macon. I'm talking about Dwayne. I'm talking about the wall. This is the wall. Did you know it was photographed in Macon? Heck no. Here I am nearly 60 years old, he said, and I didn't know that. I said, I didn't either. I'm going. So we talked a minute, and he told me, do you have the Access channel? And I said, yeah. He said, there's a thing, this is in 2016, he said, there's a thing comes on called The Big Interview. And he said, Greg Allman they're interviewing him. Have you seen it? And I said, no, but I'm going to watch it. Anyhow, his wife was up somewhere. My wife was over here, And we said, well, I see you, Alan. He said, okay, Jack, I'll talk to you later. Good luck next weekend. I said, okay. I turned around, and when I started walking, and when I turned around, somebody said, hey, mister, hold on a minute. He said, my name is T.F., and he said, I'm from Macon, Georgia. And he said, I've lived down there all my life. And this man was retired. He's probably in his 70s. And he said, I've never heard anybody down there talk about the Allman Brothers and Dwayne and the Wall like you just did. He said, man, I heard you and I had to come over here. And he said, I just wanted to tell you that I've got one of them cases. And I said, bull crap. I said, what case you talking about? One on that album. I said, you ain't. And so we talked a minute, and we talked about, so I don't know how this came up, but I am a Mason, and found out he was a Mason. And so we talked about that, and we exchanged phone numbers. I said, because is there a chance of me getting that case? He said, well, how I got that case is, he said, not far off Vineville from the big house, there's an old cotton mill. And he said, Phil Walton of Capricorn Records used to rent some of that building, and the Allman Brothers used to put a lot of their equipment in there, park trucks in it, and they had even walked from the big house right over there and sometimes set up and practice and sit around and talk and maybe drink a beer or whatever. And he said, later on, when Capricorn closed, he said, the Allman Brothers broke up, got back together and broke up again. And he said, when Capricorn got in trouble and closed, and they was cleaning that building out. He said, by now, this is 1981. He said, I know this because I built a new house in North Macon. And he said, I'm one that I go to all kind of like junk sales and stuff. And he said, this was on Friday evening. And he said, I don't even know why I went back by there. He said, I was looking for whatever. And he said they were file cabinets and just all kinds of stuff. He said, I thought about getting one of them. And he said there was nobody there because this was late in the evening. And he said, I seen this round case that had the Allman Brothers, and he said, all this stuff, they're fixing to throw it away. And he said, just something told me to get that case. And he said, I paid about $5 for it. He said, because they was fixing to throw it. And he said, he said, I'm not a rock fan. He said, I don't even listen to rock. He said, but I'm from Macon and I got that case. And he said, I put it in my garage, in my house, my new house. And he said, after all these years, I've set stuff in front. He said, you can't even park in my garage. And I've set stuff all in front. And he said, I'll have to find this case and dig it back out. He said, because truthfully, I hadn't even seen it since I put it in there. He's talking about 1981. So, anyhow, he tells me this, maybe quicker, and we exchange numbers, and he walks off. I said, now, dadgummit, I told him what I was going to do. Well, he heard me talking to the other guy, Alan, and I said, now, I want to see about getting this. I said, my birthday's about Wednesday, and I said, I'd like to get that for my birthday, man. He said, well, I'll see what I can do. And so he goes off, and I turn around, and when I turn around, man, this big, like a junk, antique stuff mall in a big old building. There I'm looking at vintage albums and vintage stereo equipment, and I look up right there to A's, and there's an Allman Brothers record. And by then, nothing has happened, and it didn't dawn on me right then. This dawned on me later. And so I looked at that, and I walked off. And I go back around, and me and my wife leave, and I see Mr. TF on up. I said, now, I'm going to call you. He said, okay. So I hadn't had my Please Be With Me book read. It made me come back home later on that night, and I got that book, and I finished it in just a minute and was reading another book. But when I finished Please Be With Me, something told me to go ahead and call, and I've learned over the years not to really to be, you know, if it's something that you might get, don't press it. But something told me to press it. So I called him. And he answers the phone. This is like on 4 o'clock in the evening on like a Wednesday evening. And he answers the phone and he says, well, I'm in the lodge and I'm setting up for Eastern Star. He said, my wife is in the Eastern Star, and he said, we're going to have a big thing, and I'm setting it up. He said, I can't do nothing today, but it's going to be tomorrow. So the next day, when it was my birthday, about 4 o'clock, I couldn't wait no longer because I had to, either it's going to happen, it's true, or it's not, and I wanted to get that out of my mind. I called. He's going down the road on the expressway in North Macon. He said, I'll be home in 15 minutes. And he said, Jack, I'll dig it out right quick. He said, it shouldn't take me long. He said, I hadn't seen it, but I'll dig it out, and I'll send you a picture of it. I said, well, now I'm sitting here waiting. He said, okay. And about that time, the phone rings. And I can't show you all the pictures, but I'm going to show you the first picture that I got, and I about passed out and fell out of my chair. He sent me that picture, and I knew immediately what it was. And I started shaking and nearly about started crying. I'm going to tell you the truth. Because, I mean, and I didn't have it yet, but I had one ace in the hole. Well, I said, you know, I'm just a country boy. I said, I'm not no rich man, blah, blah. And I said, what's the chances of me getting that? And he said, well, Jack, that's a very good change. And I said, well, what would you have to have for it? And he told me, and I said, okay, listen. I said, I've got a friend, a retired dentist friend, him and his wife, that are fixing to sell their house, and they're actually going to move up in North Georgia, up in the mountains. And I said, can he come on over there and pick that case up, because I want to do the deal now. He said, Jack, I don't want to do that. He said, the reason why is I want to see your face when you come to my house and pick this case up and everything. He said, let it just be me and you. And I said, well, that's a good idea. I said, because look, I was coming to Macon anyway, and I'm coming, but I just was going to let him go on over there and get it. And I said, and this just came to my mind like just somebody just put it in there right then. I said, I tell you what, how about me going to the old Capricorn studio down there? And I said, because right in there is where the wall was, if it's still there. And I said, that case probably hadn't been there since this picture was made. And I said, how about meeting me there at about 1:30? I said, because what I want to do, I want to go to Dwayne and Barry's grave, because then Greg had not passed, or Butch. And I said, first I want to go to their grave site, and then I want to go to the little building, I can't say the name of it, where they first played their first paying gig in Macon when nobody knew who they was, and they played on the second floor. I want to go to there. And then I want to go to across from Capricorn where you're going to meet me, and me and my wife's going to take pictures with my album. And then I want to go to H&H restaurant where they used to eat, and Mama Louise, they didn't have no money. They'd go in there and get 1 or 2 plates as 6 members, and she'd say, I tell you what, I'm going to give all y'all plates, and when y'all make it one day, y'all can fix me up. And boy, they did. And and I said, meet me at 1:30. I said, we'll eat at the H&H, and I'll come down the hill, down in the lowlands where Capricorn is. And at that time, the building was like, I thought, man, it's going to fall in. Nobody, I don't think, knew what was going to happen. So it rocked on a few minutes, and me and my wife was just real like, oh man, is this going to happen? And in a minute, here comes Mister up in a truck, an older Dodge truck with a camper on it, camper shell, in about a 1980-something Dodge. It looked like brand new. And he pulls up, and he gets the case out, and I'm about to pass out. And now check this out. Over here on the corner, and I done been eyeballing this and telling my wife, I said, God Almighty, there's the Middle Georgia TV station. Here we are, here's Capricorn Records. Here's where they took the picture. Man, I feel like Greg, J-Mo, whoever needs to be witnessing this. I said, but here we are. And you know, and so I'm going to show you this picture, the first picture of me with the case. This picture right here, Mr. TF and my wife was standing here, and we was so beside ourselves, I didn't even think to have a picture made with him. But that can happen. But my wife was standing here thinking, my goodness, he took this picture. In the background, now this is June of 2016. In the background is Capricorn Records. I got my album that I bought when I right at 16 years old. And here is probably the first time this case has ever met up with one of these albums. There it is. J-Mo's road case that's on the front of Fillmore East above Barry Oakley and Greg Allman's head. I leave the case with my dear friend that's a retired dentist. But, now get this, I even went to the big house with the case in my car really wrapped up, but I didn't get the case out. And this is the first time because the big house hadn't been open. Well, it'd been open a while, but I hadn't had a reason to go to Macon because back when I used to go all the time, my friend Gene Bush, me and him picked together artifacts and antiques, and he died in 2008, and I hadn't been to Macon, and since then they had restored the big house and opened up an Allman Brothers Museum. But anyhow I go, me and my wife, we go in there and look around. This case is in my car. My friend meets me. After we get through, I hand him the case, and he's got time because I had to get back home. And the only way to get the case recognition is to leave it because he lived right on up the road. And it took just a little while for them to acknowledge the case and actually put it in the big house. And when they put it in there, here's the first picture of the case where they set it in there with Dwayne Allman's shoes that he had on in front of, on the anthology album. His shoes, they told me, Jack, are you sitting down or do you feel anything? Because Dwayne's shoes are touching that case. That's both things from the front of two different albums. And I thought I was going to pass out because I thought, why is this happening to me? Because all I wanted to do is have a picture made with my album. Since I have found that case, and I brought that case out of where it has been sitting in a garage for 30-something years and nearly thrown in the trash. Thank goodness for the man that got it and just decided, and like I say, he didn't even listen to the Allman Brothers, but he is from Macon. He was into other music at that time. I go down there and I get to pick this book up, the Big House Collection. Here's the photograph that you seen Kurt West, actual picture of him taking a picture of this. And this is my legendary J-Mo's road case off of the iconic album Fillmore East. And they actually mentioned this case twice in this book, so that's an honor about this case. And I just wanted to tell y'all this story because nobody would know about it. And the story is what's bizarre. Because 5 minutes time going this way or that way, this never would have happened. It took 3 people in different directions from different parts of the state to come together at that moment. And for me to be talking about this case to a guy that owned a music store that I hardly ever see out of, and to be talking about this case and this happened, can anybody explain it to me? I don't think it was coincidence. I've had coincidental things to happen. There's no way. It's just bizarre to me how I got this case. It's almost like I had intervention but I don't know. That's what's constantly in my. I'll sit and look at my case, and I have to pinch myself like, how did that happen? When all I wanted to do, like I've done said, stress the fact, all I wanted to do is have a picture with my album.
Whether you think about it or not, music is a part of our lives. And for Tracy Stever, music is her life. Recently, I had the opportunity to stop by Stever Studios and talk to Tracy about how important teaching music is to the next generation.
I worked for Primerica, and my boss allowed me to have a little side room. So after work, I'd work 9 to 5 as the office manager, and I'd get off and I'd have a few students come up to the office. I had about 3, and over time, a couple years, it just grew, and then I had 5, and then I had 10. And then I met my husband, and he said, why don't you quit that office job, and why don't you just go for it and just do music, since that's really your passion. So I got in touch with Sadie Krozik, and she leased me a couple rooms over here around the back of City Hall. And at that time, I brought on a few more teachers, and we just kept growing and growing, and now we're probably up to about 80 students, and we've got about 6 other teachers that teach here besides myself. Oh, I mean, we have some serious talent here in Monroe. It's just amazing. A lot of, piano players are my specialty, where a lot of my kids really shine. When I was growing up, music was my life. Coming from a broken home, it was something that I could always turn to, that was always there for me. And I can't imagine my life without music. I'm a career musician. That's what I did when I was in middle school, in high school. I went to college for music education, and I just can't imagine a life without music.